Welcome to Season 10.
Here we go! You lazy fat pig! Hey, what's this? Found that in Peterson's quarters.
10 seasons in, and Peterson is still being referenced. So Lister mentions an interesting statistic he read regarding moose and traffic.
20% of all traffic accidents involve the moose. Well, if they're stupid enough to let them drive, what the hell do they expect?
Remember this, it'll be on the test later. Literally, in fact. Meanwhile, Rimmer retook that test that he's been failing since the pilot episode, and he's about to read the result.
I want to be an officer, Crichton. I've always loved leading. Bossing people about, sir. Exactly.
He already does that.
Well, aren't you concerned, though, sir? If you fail, you'll spend another weekend sobbing inside a cupboard.
I've only failed 9 times, Crichton.
So Rimmer's approaching this one with a different mindset.
I expect to fail.
Well, after you fail 9 times, I think that's pretty much inevitable.
But I've decided not to be so hard on myself.
Also, here's one of my favorite Rimmerisms.
If I pass, splendissimo. If I fail, hey-ho, pip and dandy.
That is just the rimmeriest Rimmerism that ever rimmered.
Whatever the result, I shall accept it with calm equilibrium.
And Crichton is just like, good for you, sir. And yeah, we know where this is going.
Can you never ever succeed at anything? You useless, rancid, cancerous sack of sick!
And that's another one. Not quite as good as this one.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
But it's pretty damn close.
I'm guessing this is a hey-ho, pip and dandy moment, sir.
Back to Lister and Kat. They're watching the future version of the Home Shopping Network. I assume it's automated.
And the Stirmaster stirs your coffee for you.
Who'd want that? It's total junk.
Buy yours now.
I want one. What about you? I'd like to order a Stairmaster, please.
I love that phone. You can tell they just took a regular old landline phone, pulled out the plug, and added a chunky antenna.
Have you seen this about mooses?
Anyway, they found a derelict ship and are going to check it out. Lister is taking his phone.
Nice ship.
A quantum twister, Listy, the pride of the Space Corps.
Anyway, it turns out that Rimmer's brothers were captains on similar ships.
It must give you a warm glow in your heart.
Yes, it's called heartburn, Crichton.
Kat thinks they could switch ships since this one is probably more advanced.
That crate's slower than the speed of dark.
Unfortunately impossible, sir. The Trojan is not flight-worthy.
There must be 40 buttons here.
Meanwhile, Rimmer's inferiority complex kicks in so hard that
They had it all.
he malfunctions for a second.
Did you see that? That was cool. Do it again.
Oh, don't worry.
Hello? Yeah, still here. Still holding.
Anyway, a little later, Rimmer messes with a rod that basically achieves light speed by bringing objects together, and ends up activating the ship's communication system, and they receive a distress call.
This is the Columbus 3. Do you read me? Over.
Another ship.
Rog, Columbus 3.
I like how anytime Rimmer tries to sound cool, he just ends up talking like Ace.
What's happening to the chair?
Meanwhile, he's holding the wrong button.
This is Columbus 3. Come in. Do you copy? Over. Need help and fast. Over.
That voice sounds a bit familiar.
Ship will impact meteor storm in 17 hours. This is ship hologram Howard Rimmer.
Oh crap, it's his brother Howard.
What are the chances? It's extraordinary. Did the rod do this?
I can't meet him. He's a captain, I'm a nobody, a vending machine repairman. I can't save his life, it's too embarrassing.
So yeah, they could get there right away, but Rimmer wants to pass his test first.
But sir, we could be there in a matter of seconds.
Crichton.
And he tells Crichton to erase the last few minutes of his memory. Back on Red Dwarf, the bunk scenes are back for real now, as Rimmer is studying while Lister is still on hold, and he's determined to wait it out.
If Kachansky walks through that door now and wants sex, I'll wedge it in me bum crack and get to work.
Oh, that's a lovely image. So guess what question Rimmer is stuck on?
It's 1971. A Swedish man crashes into a tree. What causes the accident?
You've probably got to be pretty damn smart to get a question like that right. He swerved to avoid the moose.
Are you insane? How can it be It's a moose.
Sometimes life is good.
So now Rimmer has to ease his ego by asking Crichton, because Lister probably got lucky. It can't just be common knowledge.
What causes the accident?
It's a moose, sir. He swerves and hits a tree.
But Kat definitely won't know it, right?
It's 1971. A man...
Was he Swedish?
Yes.
A moose. He swerved to avoid it and hit a tree. The moose is on the road, by the way, not in the car driving. Oh, yeah!
Rimmer's just done now.
It's so unfair.
And... blue screen of death. Best face award for the entire series.
The spinning beach balls of doom.
Get out the felt tips.
So they draw on him, and then fix him. 3 hours later, notice Lister still has that phone.
Took longer than we thought to rub off the felt tip.
So basically, Rimmer has something similar to Crichton's Nega Drive, and it overloaded. But he's feeling much better now.
This is great. I can finally pass that exam, impress Howard.
Well, your brother.
So he spills the bit about the distress call.
Passing this exam isn't going to solve anything. So I'm an officer on board a beat-up old mining ship. That's not going to impress Howard.
But Lister makes a good point. Basically that this could be a good time for Rimmer to let go of his resentment and make a change for the better.
Or are you going to carry on being a lying, cheating weasel, pretending to be something you're not?
I think we all know the answer to this.
Indeed. So they're on the Trojan, being towed by Red Dwarf, and those are some very Star Trek-y uniforms. Lister's still on the phone. So the plan is to pretend that they're the Trojan's crew and Rimmer is the captain.
Now look, I will play along with your silly little charade, but I'm not hanging up the phone.
Well, put it somewhere, hide it.
Here comes Howard and...
This is your ship. You're in the Space Corps. You.
Wow, he's even more Rimmery than our Rimmer.
But you were an utter twat.
Crichton's like, well, he's not wrong.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Howie, but I made it. Enchanté, mademoiselle.
Charmed, Captain Rimmer. Sim Crawford.
By the way, Howard's shipmate is a Simulant. Yeah, remember them?
See you in Silicon Hell.
I'm sure this one's friendly, though. I like how her uniform randomly includes a vinyl corset, cause, you know, the female uniform's gotta be sexy. Anyway, time to introduce Howard to the rest of the crew.
Over here we have Flight Coordinator Crichton Krytinsky.
Wow, clever name.
When we found Crichton, he was a burnt-out wreck on a junk heap.
And you rebuilt him. Gave him something to live for.
No, we just hosed him down and gave him a hat.
Speaking of names, he expects way too much from Cat.
Flight Officer Gerald Hampton.
Hampton. Oh, good to meet you, Captain.
My fearless flight commander, David Listerton Smythe.
David Listerton Smythe. So it turns out that Lister inadvertently put on the uniform of a telepath, so now he's got to pretend he can do that.
I'll think of something, and you tell me what I'm thinking.
I'm sensing discomfort, pain. You're thinking I'm squeezing your head too hard.
That's amazing. That's exactly what I was thinking.
He's definitely a Rimmer.
Oh, I want to see everything.
So now they have to show him around this ship that they've barely been in. Meanwhile, Lister isn't having much luck, so Crichton helps him out. He's a droid after all, so he knows how automated things work.
If you put me through to one more department, I will shove this phone so far up your...
Yeah, good work, Criters. Anyway, Howard is pretty impressed with all that Rimmer has accomplished.
Now you've got it all. The buttons, the blasters, the snug, elasticated jumpsuits.
A little too impressed.
Don't believe he'll survive teleportation.
Apparently the all-droid space station is fairly close by, so she suggests that they go there so he can get medical attention.
On this ship?
Of course on this ship, sir.
Not of course, Lieutenant Commander.
On this ship?
Of course on this ship.
Like I said when I covered Red Dwarf USA, some of the humor in Season 10 is kind of Seinfeldian.
Don't you know the difference between salsa and salsa? You have the salsa after the salsa.
Navigation officer, plot a course. On this ship?
Of course on this ship.
But are we in the...
Just do it.
I'll teleport ahead to the space station and have Medidroids on standby.
Anyway, Rimmer tells Crichton to drain Howard's resentment like he did for Rimmer earlier, and then they'll teleport him.
I'm gonna get me another felt tip.
And then he gets himself lost.
Because you were so jealous of me, it froze your entire system because you were so jealous of me. I made you that jealous. Me.
Try not to be so happy about it, Rimmer.
I've got a confession to make.
Turns out that Rimmer isn't the only Rimmer who has been pretending.
But I'm not a captain. I'm a vending machine repairman.
Oh god, that's amazing.
The ship was under attack. I leapt out of bed and hid under a table.
Not to mention that his entire crew was killed off, leaving only him and Crawford.
Who attacked your ship? Did you ever find out?
Isn't it obvious?
Gosh, the Simulant turned out to be evil? I sure didn't see that one coming.
For years I served the human race, doing their bidding, but no more. I want the Trojan data files in Quantum Rod.
I love that she's plugging USB drives into her neck. She wants the rod, so of course now is when Lister's call finally gets through.
Move and you're dead.
I am going for the phone.
This might be my favorite Lister moment of the whole series.
I mean, I'm the last human being alive, damn it! And if I don't answer that phone and make a formal complaint, then who will? I'm a human being, goddammit!
I like how I don't think he's ever said "God damn it" before, and now he's just said it twice. That's how mad he is.
And if I have to die so that no other life form has to go through this maze of hell, and so be it.
Stick it to the man, Lister. I seriously think about this rant and smirk every time I have to make a call where I get put on hold.
Hello, lethal psychopathic droid in the room.
Going for the phone?
Here we go. Lister dives for the phone. Crawford shoots at Rimmer. Howard takes the shot. Crichton grabs the USB drive containing all of Howard's resentment.
Mr. Hampton, sir!
I love that he uses Kat's fake name like anyone would be paying attention to that now. And has Kat plug it into her neck port. And blue screen of death.
Hello?
Poor Lister. Meanwhile, Howard is dying, but he's at peace.
For the first time in my life, I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. It feels so much better.
Howard is setting a pretty good example for his brother, isn't he?
I too have a confession.
Maybe Rimmer will finally come clean as well.
This is my ship, and I've got 2 Lamborghini Sesto Elementos. It was a lie. I've only got 1.
Of course not.
I feel so much better now.
Also, poor Howard. It kind of sucks that he had to go out like that. Later, Lister managed to make his own Stirmaster with blackjack and hookers.
Cheers, darling.
A little later, they've gotten a letter.
I informed it of Howard's holodeath so they could update his files.
And never again will I have a flaming mucus ball of resentment smouldering in my gut every time I think of him.
We feel it only fitting that he is awarded the Platinum Star of Fortitude.
But that is the highest military decoration awarded by the Space Corps.
As if an episode was going to end with Rimmer feeling good about himself.
I think this could be one of those hey-ho, pip and dandy moments, sir.
And so ends Trojan. I love this episode, but first a quick rundown of the changes in Season 10. It basically kept the production values of Back to Earth, but it's also gone back to more of a sitcom-like format like in the first 2 seasons. So it's a weird combination of being more modern and polished while also a return to form in a way. And can we talk about Lister's dreads for a minute? They probably look better and more realistic here than they do in any other season. There's more of them, they're longer, and they appear to actually be woven into his hair instead of looking like they've just been stuck onto the back. Honestly, they look really, really good, and I was disappointed that they didn't continue this look in the following 2 seasons. So, Season 10 is kind of the season of Rimmer. We're gonna learn stuff about him that we didn't know before, and, well, let me just say that some of what this episode brings up kind of comes back around in the season finale. I'll just leave it at that. As for this episode, it's funny how it manages to hit some of the same points as Beyond a Joke, but handles it so much better. Not only is there basically a nega drive, which ends up being a Chekhov's gun against a simulant, but a member of the crew meets, or in this case reunites, with his brother, who dies a heroic death at the end. Wow, I honestly didn't realize how similar it was until just now. The guy who plays Howard is great. He must have been a longtime fan of the show, because he plays a Rimmer just about as well as Chris Berry does. It's great that we got to meet one of Rimmer's brothers, and it's not just in an old family video or a side role for Chris Berry. I like the reveal that he's a lot more like Rimmer than we've always been told, only he kind of redeems himself at the end, something that Rimmer probably won't be doing. Other than that, the comedy is spot on. I'll probably be saying some variation of that a lot because Season 10 is just absolutely hilarious to me. I guess that's about all I have to say about this one. It's basically another Rimmer episode, but it's splendissimo. Next up is Fathers and Sons. See you then.
Strange. I didn't sense us turning.
Turning now, ma'am. Turning right now, ma'am.